Imagine being able to predict Alzheimer's, like years before any symptoms even show up.
Yeah.
Or getting an objective diagnosis for depression, like not just based on how you feel, but based on data.
Yeah.
That's the kind of future that Firefly Neuroscience is working towards. And today, we're going to be taking a deep dive into what makes this company tick.
Oh, okay.
You've provided us with a stack of reports on Firefly, and we're going to unpack it all, everything from their business model to their financials.
Okay.
We'll even touch upon the market sentiment about Firefly.
Got it.
Stick around to the very end because we'll leave you with a question that none of these reports even considered.
Yeah.
Something to really ponder as you continue your own research on Firefly Neuroscience.
It's a fascinating company for sure, especially with the neuroscience market. Predicted to just, boom, like explode to $71 billion by 2032.
Wow, $71 billion.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's break down what Firefly actually does. Their flagship product, this brain network analytics platform, BNA, analyzes brainwave data, but it's not your typical EEG.
Not at all. They've combined EEG readings with AI and a massive database of brainwave patterns.
So they're using artificial intelligence.
Yeah, and what's remarkable is that this AI-driven analysis is already FDA cleared.
Okay.
Which is a huge hurdle in the medical device world.
Oh, absolutely. So their technology has met those rigorous safety and effectiveness standards.
Exactly. That means clinicians can use BNA to gain objective insights into brain function, helping diagnose and monitor conditions like depression, dementia, anxiety, even concussions, and ADHD.
Wow.
Think about how valuable objective data could be for a psychiatrist treating a patient with depression, for example.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
You mentioned dementia earlier. There was something in these reports about them assessing biological brain age using EEG data. What's that all about?
It's groundbreaking, really. They've found correlations between certain brainwave patterns and a person's biological brain age, which may differ from their chronological age.
Oh, so
think of it like a car's mileage.
Okay.
Higher mileage might mean more wear and tear, and similarly, a higher brain age could indicate an increased risk of cognitive decline.
So if someone's biological brain age is significantly higher than their actual age, this could be an early warning sign for conditions like Alzheimer's.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that early detection is critical because it opens up the possibility of early intervention, potentially delaying or even preventing the onset of debilitating symptoms.
That's incredible. Early detection is key for so many health issues.
Absolutely.
Speaking of early stages, Firefly is a fairly young company, right? What can you tell us about their leadership and the moves they've been making?
Well, Firefly is led by a mix of veterans from healthcare and tech, which makes sense given their space. Greg Lipschitz, their executive chairman, brings a strong financial background, while CEO John Olson has extensive experience in the medical device industry.
That sounds like a solid team, but I did notice some mentions of recent CEO and board changes in these reports. Should that be a red flag?
It's definitely something to keep an eye on. Leadership changes, especially at a young company, can sometimes be a sign of internal disagreements or shifts in strategy. We'll want to watch closely and see how these changes play out in the long run.
Fair enough. So they've got the technology, a seemingly experienced team, and a huge potential market. Let's talk money. What's their financial situation looking like?
Here's where things get interesting. Firefly is pouring money into research and development, commercialization of BNA, and building strategic partnerships. They've spent over $60 million on developing the platform and their EEG database, and they recently merged with another company called Wave Dancer, likely to access more capital.
$60 million.
Yeah.
That's a bold move for a young company. What does that translate to in terms of their actual financials?
Well, they're still in the early stages of commercialization, so their revenue is currently quite low, and their operating margin is sitting at a negative 11,060%. Yes, you heard that right.
Okay, that sounds pretty scary.
It is a significant figure, and it raises questions about how long they can sustain this aggressive spending strategy. They're burning through cash at a rapid rate, and at some point they'll need to demonstrate a return on this investment.
So they're not profitable yet, and they're spending a ton of money. What's the good news here?
The good news is they have a strong gross profit margin, which means that once they scale up, their core product is inherently profitable. Also, they have zero debt on their balance sheet.
So no debt, but burning cash, high potential but unproven. It sounds like the classic high-risk, high-reward scenario, right?
That's a very apt description. It certainly is. Firefly's potential hinges on them converting their technological edge into financial success. And this brings us to another important aspect. How is the market reacting to Firefly?
Yeah, good point. We've been diving deep into the company itself, but
Yeah.
what's the outside perspective? What's the sentiment like?
Well, it's a mixed bag, really. Their brain age assessment breakthrough was a major PR win and generated a lot of positive buzz, especially in the media and among certain investors who are excited about its potential to revolutionize Alzheimer's care.
I can imagine. Pretty powerful concept, getting a glimpse into your future brain health like that. But I suppose investors are also looking at the cold, hard financials, and we know those aren't exactly stellar right now.
Exactly. While the technology is exciting, the reality is Firefly is unproven in the market. Their revenue is low, and those hefty operating losses are making some investors understandably nervous. It's a classic case of weighing potential versus risk.
So it sounds like there's a wait-and-see attitude in the market. Are there any analysts covering Firefly who might offer some more informed opinions?
Interestingly enough, there isn't much analyst coverage on Firefly yet. This could be because they're still under the radar, or perhaps analysts are waiting for more concrete evidence of commercial success before diving in.
It's almost as if Firefly is this shiny new object that everyone is curious about, but no one is quite sure what to make of it yet.
A good analogy. And that lack of analyst attention is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it means they haven't been subject to the same level of scrutiny as more established companies, which can be good or bad. On the other hand, it also means there's less information available for investors to base their decisions on.
So there's a lot of uncertainty surrounding Firefly. Let's shift gears a bit and talk about their ownership structure. Can that give us any clues about investor confidence?
Absolutely. One thing that stands out is the relatively low institutional ownership. It's only around 1.76%. This could indicate that those big institutional investors, the ones with deep pockets, are hesitant about Firefly's prospects.
Why would they be hesitant? Is it just the financial performance, or are there other factors at play?
It's likely a combination of factors. Institutional investors tend to be risk-averse and often prefer companies with a proven track record of revenue growth and profitability before making significant investments. They want to see solid evidence that Firefly can turn their innovation into financial success.
Makes sense. They don't want to throw money at a company that might not make it. But then there's this other piece of the puzzle, insider ownership, right? What's the story there?
Here's where things get interesting. Insider ownership, meaning ownership by the company's own management team, is incredibly high at almost 69%.
Wow, that's a huge number.
It is. And it's a powerful signal that the leadership team believes strongly in Firefly's future. They're literally putting their money where their mouths are.
So while big investors might be staying on the sidelines for now, the people who know the company best seem to be all in. That's an interesting contrast.
Yeah.
Okay, let's wrap up this deep dive by taking a step back and assessing the bigger picture, the risks and opportunities facing Firefly. I know you're a fan of the SWOT analysis, so let's do that.
An excellent idea. SWOT analysis, looking at strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, is a classic way to get a holistic view of a company's position. So starting with Firefly's strengths, they have this FDA-cleared BNA technology, which is a huge differentiator in the market. They have an extensive EEG database, advanced AI capabilities, and they've secured strategic partnerships, including one with NVIDIA, a leader in the AI space.
Okay, so those are some serious assets in their favor. What about weaknesses? What are some of the challenges they need to overcome?
Well, their limited operating history is a definite weakness. They're a young company, and it's hard to assess their long-term viability based on such limited data. Their unprofitability and negative cash flow, as we discussed, are also major concerns for investors.
Right. And then there's the issue of those recent leadership changes, which always raise questions about stability and strategic direction. And we can't forget about that high ownership concentration.
Absolutely. Those factors add a layer of complexity and uncertainty to the mix. So those are some of the hurdles Firefly faces. Now let's turn to the opportunities that lie ahead.
All right, let's talk about some potential bright spots. What kind of opportunities are they looking at?
The neuroscience market itself is expanding, rapidly driven by factors like the aging population and the increasing prevalence of neurological disorders. This means a larger potential customer base for Firefly's technology. The growing adoption of AI in healthcare also presents a massive opportunity.
I see what you mean. They're riding a couple of pretty big waves right now, the growth of neuroscience and the rise of AI in medicine. Okay, opportunities checked. Let's finish up with the threats. What are some of the things that could derail Firefly's success?
Well, competition is always a major threat in any industry, and neuroscience is no different. Firefly is up against established players with more resources and brand recognition, as well as emerging startups that might be nipping at their heels with new innovations.
It's a crowded playing field out there.
It certainly is. And then there are the inherent technological challenges and uncertainties. What if a new, even more advanced technology comes along and renders BNA obsolete? What if their AI algorithms hit a wall?